Hi guys, it's Karen Langston from Parents & Co. I'm here today to talk to you about some gentle sleep strategies that you can start implementing with your baby, really from as early as 8 weeks. So we want to ensure that we are kind of always responding responsibly to our baby. But as they get that little bit bigger, there are some really simple little strategies that you can put in place that would just help to kind of develop these positive sleep associations. So one thing is exposure to daylight hours. You want baby to kind of start understanding the difference between day and night. And the way that they start to understand this is by letting them kind of be around in the daylight. So I find keeping them downstairs with you during the day is a great way to distinguish day and night, because they also then get used to household noises, which again is really important. You don't want to be tiptoeing around your new baby during the day as soon as they go to sleep. So you want them to get used to the washing machine sound, the front doorbell ringing, a dog barking, the kettle kind of clicking on and off, as you'll be wanting quite a few cups of teas. So yeah, it's really important to kind of like not kind of like hide them away while they're quite little during the day. Also, I find is establishing good feeding. You want to obviously make sure that baby is feeding well, whether that's breastfeeding or bottle feeding. If you are having issues, I can't highly recommend enough getting somebody in, particularly a good lactation consultant, to come along and give you some great one-to-one support, just having a little look at kind of like how feeding's going and offer you some tips and ongoing support until you feel confident that feeding's going really well. And again with bottle feeding, if you're finding in the beginning you're kind of like baby is still kind of like adjusting maybe to different bottles, etc., then you just want to kind of like make sure that you get feeding underway, because that will really help with sleep as they get that little bit bigger. It's also, you want to start looking as they get to about kind of 8 to 12 weeks, is looking at kind of a bedtime routine. A very simple, consistent bedtime routine for baby is a great tool for positive sleep associations. So whereas they used to sleep anywhere when they were tiny, so they'd be downstairs with you because you were obviously feeding frequently, and you're watching some TV and catching up with your partner, that was all fine. But as they get to about 8 to 12 weeks, they become a lot more aware of their environments, and they get really stimulated by kind of sound and light. So creating a nice calm environment for them to sleep in, like early evening, is really important. And also giving them a bit of wind down time first as well before you kind of put them in their cribs. Also, don't be afraid to sometimes put your baby down during the day. Obviously, when they're tiny, you're going to be holding them lots, and that's really important and really natural. And sometimes you just don't want to put them down, and that's absolutely fine. But just occasionally, having, quite often you have a Moses basket downstairs, or you might have a little kind of crib, or even the pram top that you sometimes put them in once they've fallen asleep. Well, it's really good to sometimes even put them in these sleep environments, their sleep space rather, while they're awake. So just laying them down there just for a few minutes while you're around, so you're not far away, you're kind of still there with them, just letting them have some calm time, just laying in their sleep environment. Because obviously what the message you want to give them is that's a safe place too, that you're absolutely fine there. So sometimes putting them down during the day in their sleep space is a really nice way of looking at things like naps as well. So introducing kind of naps to baby. So as they're really tiny, again, you tend to find they will sleep anywhere during the day. So falling asleep downstairs, it is absolutely fine. They will feed and sleep really nicely, but there might become a time, sometimes around 3 months, where you find that some of their naps might need to be taken in a calm sleep space, more upstairs, where it's dark and it's a calmer space for them to be around. You're also going to sometimes think about kind of noise or how you're kind of putting baby to sleep. So some babies respond really well to white noise. One thing you need to remember is when they were in the womb, things weren't quiet at all. They were slushing around inside the womb, lots of kind of noise. The space was quite tight, so as they kind of, you remember when they were like pushing, kind of like you could feel a little kind of body part kind of pushing on your stomach, and that's because there was some restriction there for them because their space is quite tight in the womb. So when they come out, when they're born, kind of recreating some of those sounds through white noise is a really good tool. And there's loads of apps on the phone that you can get for white noise. There's some, white noise products that kind of like turn off when baby goes to sleep and is very still. And then once baby wakes up and starts moving again, it comes back on. It's just great. None of that when mine were around. And swaddling. So one thing you do tend to find is when babies are first born, quite often they're born with a startle reflex, which means that their arms startle out. And that can continue for a good 3 months with some of them. And so they tend to wake themselves up as they kind of startle themselves. So I find loosely swaddling, so you obviously want to always follow the safe guidance for swaddling. With the Lullaby Trust have some really good tips actually on their website. But I find swaddling baby, particularly their upper body, so their arms, can sometimes just recreate that kind of secure containment for them. And again, kind of just help them kind of drift off to sleep really nicely. Looking at their place that they sleep in, so you want it to be kind of nice and cozy, and sometimes babies like it quite warm. And they're very sensitive to smell, babies. So, from early on, they all know mummy and daddy's smell, particularly mummy if you're feeding baby. So I find that if you're finding baby is quite hard to put down in their sleep space, getting an oversized t-shirt and wearing it for a few days. So, if you're breastfeeding, it'll have the smell of the milk, particularly if you have quite fast letdowns, let a little bit of that kind of go on the t-shirt, and then take it off and put it over the top of the mattress, but always making sure that you tuck it in really well so there's no loose bits. Babies will love that, kind of laying on that and being able to smell mummy is very comforting. Also, you can do that with a large muslin, so they're breathable, and again kind of putting it on your chest for a few hours so it has that really good smell of mum, and then tucking it underneath the mattress of their sleep space. Again, is a really nice one. It's really soft and cozy, but it's a really nice way to kind of ensure baby has that nice smell of mum. And if they ever have a little spit up, it's great because it's easily taken off the mattress and you can wash it. And just don't be afraid to kind of start doing a nice little kind of bedtime routine with baby. From about 8 to 12 weeks. As I said before, kind of baby kind of like is a little bit more kind of aware of kind of their surroundings. So starting a nice bedtime routine with baby really sets them up for the night. So you might want to take them up and give them a nice little bath, which you don't have to do every night, so maybe every other night. On the other night, you might want to just top and tail them so that you're always kind of giving them a nice little kind of wash down and making sure that there's no milk or anything caught in their little creases. And then a nice little massage if they're happy for you to do that. Sometimes they're really tired when they get out of the bath and they just want to get their sleep clothes on and that's it. And creating a nice environment, so pulling the curtains across or a blind down so that the room is nice and dark. And you can even have some nice calming kind of music or just like a meditation app kind of playing in the background while you feed baby, but just creating something that's very relaxing for baby is really nice, and actually for mum as well, particularly if you've had a long day and you're just kind of finding that you feel really tired and a bit overwhelmed by everything. It's a really nice way to kind of bring yourself down as well. And then obviously after that, you can then just kind of swaddle baby, put your white noise on and put baby down in their sleep space. Again, you might want to start by kind of having a few triggers to kind of get baby to sleep. One thing I do find is not having just one trigger to get baby to sleep, because that means that only one person, normally mum, can just get baby to sleep. So quite often you'll find baby feeds and then falls asleep instantly on the breast or on the bottle, particularly while they're tiny, and that's how they get to sleep. But as they get that little bit bigger, as the weeks go on, you don't want that to just be the one trigger that will get them to sleep. You want to layer their triggers. So that might be feeding, you might do some rocking, some patting, some shushing, so that they have a number of triggers. And then as they kind of start calming and they're getting used to kind of having these different triggers to get them to sleep, you can then slowly start to gradually minimize the triggers that you are implementing to get them to sleep. So maybe instead of patting and shushing and doing little kind of rocking, you might then just do patting and shushing, like while baby's laying calmly on you, and then kind of like putting baby in their crib and just kind of having your hand kind of over their chest and doing some shushing, and eventually kind of just being able to put baby down and just kind of giving them a little stroke and then being able to walk away, so that baby always feels very safe, that they feel very reassured that you're there, but you are kind of ensuring that they are understanding that actually their sleep space is a safe place to be, and that when they go to sleep, they know where they're being put down. So they know that they're being put down in their crib or their Moses basket, so that when they wake up in the night and they kind of look around, they know that that's where they started the night. So they don't feel worried about kind of where they are. Because obviously when you feed to sleep and then you kind of put them down in their crib, the last thing they will remember was being really nice and cozy with mummy kind of feeding, or daddy. So, and that's where they want to be. They want to be back in your arms. So you want to kind of make things very gradual and gentle, but by implementing some really simple strategies early on will really kind of set you up for positive sleep associations later on. If you ever want some one-to-one support, or you just want to have a chat about your baby and sleep and feeding, then please get in touch. I'd love to hear from you. Bye.